Hello, my name is Gaun. I'm the head of product management here at solo.io. In this session, I want to talk about Gloo Portal, give you an introduction on what we've done with Portal and where we're going with it. First, I want to give you a sense of why you need a developer portal and an API gateway. In recent times, we've been moving from monolith applications to microservices. With that has come a Cambrian explosion of the number of pods and resources and services that you need to manage. As we all know, since you're here, what we've been doing is moving those services, those microservices, to Kubernetes, the clear winner in the container orchestration platform. What we want to do now is, now that they're on Kubernetes, is expose them to the outside world. How do we do that? It's through ingress. That's the basic concept of using TLS routing to all these different services. But then the problem is, how do I connect? How do I secure? How do I expose things that are external to Kubernetes? You can't do that with some basic ingress. And that is where an API gateway comes in. It provides all the building blocks and pieces that you need in order to route your traffic to, whether it's Lambda or VMs or EC2s or Kubernetes services, to add rate limiting, external authorization and authentication, the ability to add filters like data loss prevention and web application firewalls. These are all pre-packaged into an API gateway like Gloo Edge. So now that you have this basic setup with an API gateway, the question becomes, how do I manage my APIs and expose them to other developer teams, partners, or even customers? You do that through a developer portal. This allows you to catalog your APIs, secure them, document them, and share them within or outside of your organization. Here at solo.io, we built the developer portal, the Gloo Portal. It went in 1.0 in the summer of last year. You heard me talk about it at last SoloCon. We've had a few releases, GA releases since then. Are on the 1.2 is the latest release that's coming out very soon. Gloo Portal allows you to do everything that you want for API management and developer portal access for all your APIs, whether it's on Gloo Edge or Service Mesh, in one simple interface. Gloo Portal allows you to connect, secure, and connect your APIs. Again, all in a very simple interface. There's the admin portal, which allows you to build your APIs, put the documentation in, define an API product, combine like different open API specs, and then set it up in an environment like development, test, production. Gloo Portal allows you to secure your APIs, but expose them to your users. You do this through OpenID Connect or LDAP and common authentication protocols. You could also lock down your APIs and the portal itself with HTTPS. As you see here, you could actually document all your APIs. You see your common Swagger interface where you have all your API definitions. You could go test out your APIs. You could build, again, a developer portal. You could brand it to your organization and your logos. Here on this slide, you see some of the benefits of Gloo Portal. I'm not going to go through them all. One top benefit is actually the self-service aspects, the ability to actually put, as a team member of a development team, your own APIs into the portal. Another key aspect is the authentication, which comes out of the box. And then another one that we hear a lot from customers is that it's built using cloud native APIs. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's built using CRDs. So it works well with your GitOps process. It works well with Argo CD. It works obviously well with Kubernetes. So this is one of the top features a lot of our users are looking for when they're developing a portal, when they want to expose their APIs for their services that are running on Kubernetes. So what are some of the tools that we use in Developer Portal? Well, one is the Open API spec. This is a common specification that's used in order to define RESTful APIs. It's basically an industry standard at this point. You could upload your OpenAPI spec to the developer portal. People often ask, what's the difference between OpenAPI spec and Swagger? Well, Swagger is really an interface to actually parse and expose those APIs. It is partly used in the developer portal itself. Now with that, I want to actually hand it over to Jim, who's going to give you a demo of the developer portal, walk through all the features.
Hello everyone, my name is Jim Barton. I am a field engineer with solo.io. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Number one, do you need to catalog, manage, or publish your system's APIs in a secure cloud-native fashion? Are you working primarily in a Kubernetes environment, and do you value cloud-native ways of doing things? Do you leverage popular interface standards in your application like OpenAPI, Swagger, gRPC, or GraphQL? And finally, is it valuable to you to provide an easy onboarding experience for outside developers who may be using these systems? For example, things like packaging up docs with your APIs, maybe usage instructions, an execution sandbox where you can provision APIs and that sort of thing. Well, if you answered yes to some of those questions, then this demonstration is for you, because we're going to be showing you Gloo Portal. And it is an environment that allows you to do exactly that: to catalog, manage, and publish your system APIs in a cloud-native fashion. So we only have a few minutes, so let's get started here. What you're seeing on the screen here is the Gloo Portal administrative console. We really see three sets of personas who use Gloo Portal. So administrators are certainly one of those, maybe people who are doing things like, let's say, providing user access, provisioning access for certain users to certain sets of APIs, that sort of thing. There's also really strong support for developers. So being able to package your API products and publish those out in a way that fits very hand in glove with cloud native ways of doing things. So very strong GitOps support, that sort of thing. And then finally, support for outside development teams who may be onboarding to your system, so that they can have an execution sandbox. They can see documentation for how to get started. They can provision their own credentials, that sort of thing. So let's get started and take a look at this. And the way I want to walk through it is to show you some of the key abstractions that you need when you're building with Gloo Portal. So we already have everything installed here in a GKE cluster, and we are deploying this in conjunction with one of Solo's gateway technologies, the Gloo Edge technology. Also, you can do these sorts of things with the Gloo Mesh product line as well. So let's get started with Portal, and to do that, let's take a look at one of the key abstractions. This is really a foundational level, and that is this notion of an API doc. And so an API doc is a very thin wrapper around an interface specification. Maybe it's OpenAPI, maybe it's gRPC or something like that. In this case, we're going to be using a Swagger document, an OpenAPI document, and you can see it's just a standard OpenAPI. There's nothing that's specific to Gloo Edge here. It's just the kind of document you may already be creating if you're publishing APIs based on Swagger docs. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create one of these cloud native custom resources, an API doc, and you can see it's just a very thin wrapper around a URL that points to this Swagger doc. And so we will just use, in this case, we'll use standard Kubernetes tooling, kubectl, to apply this to our environment. So this is a standard custom resource. There's no extra database or anything like that we need to apply to our environment. It's just stored in the native Kubernetes etcd storage system. So in fact, we can go look here in K9s, and you can see here's our API doc, and we can drill into that. You can see the specification for what we for what we put out there. And then you can see that Gloo Edge went off and parsed that document and actually discovered, hey, here are the endpoints that are available as part of this pet store that we can use to package and publish our API. So you can see there are the operations. So that's a very simple component. That's kind of where we get started. And then we're going to add to that something called an API product. Now, API products are really interesting because they give us a way to assemble these raw interface components into packaged products that you might want to present as a unit to an external team of developers, whether that's external, within your enterprise, within your organization, perhaps to a partner organization, or even to the general public. We can use this mechanism to package our underlying APIs into a single cohesive product that we'd like to push out to external product groups. And so you can see, again, Kubernetes custom resource, just as all Gloo products use. You can see there's version support in here. So as you evolve a system over time, you're of course going to go through different versions, and you want to be able to publish, perhaps version 2 to one set of users, and version 3 could be available to, say, some more advanced users who need some new functionality that you've created here. And so there's full support for versioning and being able to model that as part of your API publication process. You can also see there is an API doc, the one we just created, that's going to be part of this product. Now, there are a couple of interesting things we could do here. We could package multiple API documents into the same product. We could also pick and choose what elements we want to publish from a particular API doc as part of this product. So let's say we didn't need all 4 of those endpoints. We only wanted to publish 2 of them out. We could make those sorts of selections right here, as well as, again, aggregating multiple docs into one cohesive product. So this is a very simple use case. We're simply taking the API doc that we already ingested, and we're going to call that version 1 of our product, and we're going to push that out there. So let's do that here. So we'll put that product out there. And then finally, before we actually get to run something here, we're going to create one more abstraction, and that's called an environment. So we have API docs, API products, and environments. Those are the first 3 we're looking at. And the environment is meant to basically define a computing context, if you will, in which a set of API products are going to be deployed. So it's very easy to think about this in terms of, your enterprise's deployment chain probably has a development stage. It probably has a staging or QA stage, and it may have some others in there, and then it probably has a production stage, right? And so you'll be managing different versions of the products with different APIs you want to publish out, potentially at each link in that chain. And so that's what this environment abstraction represents. So you can see here is, this is the dev environment that we're going to create here. We've defined a domain that it's going to watch for requests on. And then the key bits right here are the products that we're going to publish in this dev environment. So in this case, it's just one, it's this pet store product we've created. But as I said, you could put a whole list of products in here and manage them within a single portal. So let's go and apply this environment to our cluster. Now, at this point, we actually have enough in place that we can do something. So what's happened underneath the covers is Gloo Portal has taken these custom resources and has built a virtual service that's part of the underlying Gloo Edge API gateway in this configuration. And we can now access these. So we can go in, for example, and hit the pets endpoint. And you can see if we curl that endpoint, we get back, here's our, we get a 200 OK message. Here is our, here are our results. We have 2 pets in inventory right now, a dog and a cat. So, but you'll notice there's some, we're still very far from being complete, right? One thing you'll notice is there's no security model here, right? We're just hitting this, out there in the wild. And so that's obviously not a sustainable practice, not a good practice. The other thing is we don't have any portal. We don't have any user interface associated with this. So we don't really have that whole feel for being able to push this out to external customers and so forth. So let's go about fixing that here. And the way we'll do that is we will add in something called a portal. All right. And so this is a portal abstraction. And this portal abstraction, you'll see, begins to add some user interface components to this. So you'll see here are some URLs. You'll see those pop up in just a minute when we actually show you the generated portal interface. You can see there's also a place we can apply some pages here. So if you want to attach documentation, store that with your the rest of your API componentry, you can do that right here. You can also do, if you value things like being able to do detailed custom styling, say even down to the level of custom CSS and that sort of thing, you can apply that here. And so you can see we're going to publish this portal on a particular domain. And then we've identified here are the environments we want to publish with this portal. So in this case, we just have the single dev environment that we're going to publish. And that's what we're going to put here. But you can put multiple, you can associate multiple environments with a single portal. Okay, so let's do that and see what that gives us. So let's apply the portal. So that's out there now. Again, you can see this is just a YAML file. It's just packaged up, and we can take this YAML, we can store it, we can manage it via via GitOps platform, right? We can use this with technologies like Flux and like Argo CD and a variety of others. So it fits very nicely with your GitOps strategy that you may be adopting in your organization. Now, before we actually take a look at the generated portal interface, one other thing I want to point out here is that there's also provisions for things like groups and users, role-based access control, that sort of thing. We have integration with OIDC in Portal, so you can hook this up to your external IDP provider like an Okta or an Auth0 or a Keycloak or whatever you happen to be using. But in this case, we're just going to use the internal mechanism, which you probably don't want to do in production, but we've defined a group and a user, and we've already applied this. In fact, you can see, if you take a look at our administrative console here, you go to access control, you can see we have a group that we've built. We have a set of users. We have a single user that we've built, and we've provisioned some access to this for these users, right? So here's this particular group has access to the pet store portal, which is the one we just created, which will come in really handy. You can see other things you can do in the administrative interface as well. You can actually interact with the portal abstraction. You can do everything we've done through the YAML so far. You can actually do inside this administrative interface if you want. What we find for a lot of our customers is that they really prefer, they're very strong in terms of wanting to be able to use native Kubernetes tools, being able to use GitOps strategies. And so a lot of times we find them not using this administrative interface as much as you might expect, depending on your background. But it is certainly there, and you can do everything that you can do from the API, from YAML configuration. You can also do here in this UI environment. Okay. So we have a set of users and groups set up. We have a portal configured on top of our environment and our API doc and API product. And now let's take a look at what's been generated. So here is our automatically generated portal interface. Literally, we didn't build any of this from a UI standpoint. We simply specified, in the portal abstraction what we wanted this to look like. And here we are. And so you can see we're logged in as our dev1 user, and we can take a look at the APIs that we have provisioned here. You can see this is an open API pet store product. You can see here are the 4 endpoints that are available. Now, once again, this is just one of the interface standards that is supported. So you could also have gRPC interfaces here. Very soon you'll be able to have GraphQL interfaces here. So all of the major interface specification technologies that are commonly in use today are supported via Gloo Portal. So here's the pet store product. You can see here's some operation. Here's an operation that we can perform. And so we can try this out and we execute that. There are no parameters required for this one. So you can see here we get back our response with our dog and our cat that are available. And so that's all good. So here's our little execution sandbox. Now, let's say we wanted to secure this API in some way. Maybe we want to require the API itself to be protected with an API mechanism. You can see here with this curl command we're using, there's still no security on the interface itself. There's security to get into the portal, but not on the actual API. So maybe we want to secure that. Maybe we want to apply some rate limiting rules, something like that. So let's take a look at how we can expand on what we've done so far to make that happen. Now, I'm showing you here some code that allows us to expand on the environment abstraction that we talked about before. And so we're going to add something here called a usage plan to our dev environment. And so this is something that, first of all, we're going to specify an auth policy with this. We're going to specify API key authorization as being required. We're also going to apply rate limiting to this API, and we're going to limit that to 3 requests per minute into this API. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply that. Oh, that's the wrong one. So here is our we've modified our environment, and let's come out of here, and we will log back in. All right, let's take a look at our APIs. Let's go in here. Let's try to hit this API now without authenticating. And what you're going to see is, in fact, we get back an unauthorized error, right? Because now we've specified a usage plan that says, hey, you have to have an API key provisioned to access this. All right. So what can we do about that? Well, one of the things that Portal allows us to do is to give users the ability to provision their own credentials. All right. So let's say we want to authorize here. And the way we're going to do that is, first, we'll have the user, they can go in and they can build their own or they can provision their own API key for any plan that they've been authorized to use. So let's copy that. Let's go back to our API. We'll authorize. All right. We'll add this key. And now we should be able to do this, and everything will work just as you would expect. Now you'll notice here, the command we're issuing is something different, right? It has an API key associated with it. So in this case, the security is being applied. If you don't have this key, then it's going to fail. Now you remember the one other security provision we made here was to apply rate limiting to this interface. So if we hit this interface more than once, let me go in here and put a -I switch on this so you can see the code we get back. So you can see right now we're getting 200 OKs, but if we hit this more than 3 times in the same minute, you'll see we begin to get back 429 too many request errors, and we also get this header that says that Envoy is in fact rate limiting our request. Okay, so that's a very quick tour of Gloo Portal. I hope you've found it interesting and enlightening. And now Chris and I will be happy to take your questions.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining me for this session at SoloCon. And thank you again for your feedback and helping us to build Developer Portal and making it into this excellent product.